assuming that that I'm on. We're doing this. I'm learning technology. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm not. I'm experimenting with technology. I'm not sure how much of it I've actually learned. But I do have my wife, Marquita, is helping me. She's learned more and knows more about the technology than I probably ever will, and I'm happy about that. But we have a slightly different little format going on today. Several different social media platforms at the same time. We're on two Facebook, both Bob Dickerson that most of you see me on. Some of you know there is a Robert Bob Dickerson Jr. I didn't know any better, so when I got to the 5,000 friends on Bob Dickerson, or right at that amount, I started a new one. And then I've got a fan page. One day I'm going to really get some instructions to come on and intelligently instruct all of my friends and fans and people who want to follow me as to just how to do it. But I will say this: if you've gone on one of the Facebook accounts and it says I'm loaded with friends, you can you can follow me as a fan, and then you still get the same information. I think that's correct. That's what I understand. But anyway, we're also out here on YouTube and also on, is it LinkedIn maybe? I don't know about LinkedIn, but we're on a couple of Facebooks and YouTube and who knows what else. And of course, I'm putting all of this stuff on my website, and I hope you'll visit my site. It's bobdickerson.com, bobdickerson.com. Check it out. I was on there earlier today, just looking back at some of the archives, and I'll reference one article that's on there. Really, I'm going to reference a couple later in the show, but I've got a list. If you go to the media section and then you click on in the news, then you can look at just I don't know, maybe 100 or so, close to 100 articles that relate to something I said, something about Black entrepreneurship, something concerning the AG Gaston conference, etc. So go check it out. I'd love for you to check out the website, bobdickerson.com. And I'm pretty sure that all of these videos, the Facebook Live series that I've been doing are all on there. So happy to have you on with me this morning. I've had my cup of tea, and I stopped drinking coffee for a while because of the caffeine was giving me indigestion. But boy, I want a cup of coffee really, really bad right about now. I wish I could get one. So anyway, got a few things that we want to talk about today. Now, brothers, I'm sitting here, and most of you that know me know that within the last month, I kind of got rid of hair. If you go back and you look at some of the initial Facebook Live videos that I did on Wednesday morning, I was Willie. I had about as much of an afro as I'm able to grow, which wasn't very much, but it was out of control. And because of social distancing, I was really not that comfortable going, to a barbershop. I'm still not real comfortable going to a barbershop. So my solution was to order clippers, cut my hair. Shout out to Willie Etheridge, Etheridge Brothers, who's cut my hair for a decade or more. Love you, man. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to come by and chop it up with you guys, as soon as it's safe. But I wanted to, neaten it up. So I get these clippers, and Marquita is going to help me. And she decided that, well, let's make it a style, and taper it, and not understanding that is not the easiest thing to do. And my thing was, no, let's just get rid of it. And so when we did that, it was okay. And I've had people tell me I look younger. That's all you got to do. Tell me I look younger. And that's it for hair. So anyway, but the problem is the shine. I'm sitting and we get the shine. So, I get something that we really have to put up with, fellas. If you want to go, with the hairless, no hair look, then at some point, when you're under some lights or under the sun or wherever you are, you get the shine. But I'm looking at it. I don't know if you see it, but it's like this big, bright light that's right in my head. And I'm reminding myself, you know, that emoji with the sun that you send, the smiling face, that's the sun. So I'm reminding myself of that emoji. So anyway, hey, I hope all of you are being smart, that you're staying safe. You know, our state is not out of the dark, it's not out of the woods. We've got a lot of folks who are coming down with the virus, which means that we have a lot of people who are spreading the virus. Many of them don't know that they're spreading the virus, but they are spreading the virus. So two things I want to say to you. A, don't spread it. And one of the ways not to spread it is for you to wear a mask. Another way not to spread it is for you to limit the contact that you have. You know, contact folks when you have to. And I'm not saying that you have to stop living life, but there are some things that I'm not doing anymore because they are not more important to me than my health. And I hope you feel the same way. So A, don't be a spreader. And B, just really be careful. Understand that it's out there, and understand that if you get it from someone, that wasn't intentional, it wasn't malicious, that many people don't know they have it when they spread it. But we've got to do a better job of making sure that what we individual citizens can, whatever we can do to limit the number of cases, it helps us all. It helps people from getting it, obviously. It helps the healthcare system. And, you know, it's just really smart. So stay safe. The southern part of the U.S., I think I saw on the news this morning, and I could be wrong about the stat, but what, a quarter of the world cases are occurring in the southern states of the U.S. And that's something, a quarter of the world cases. And remember when it was in New York, started out in Washington State, and then it was in New York, and then it was in Michigan real bad. Well, now in Texas and Florida, it's even worse. And so, you know, in Georgia, it was bad. It's not any better. It's not any better in Alabama. So anyway, and I, you know, you can't make this kind of stuff up that's happening in the Rose Garden yesterday with the president. Boy, these books that are coming out on him are really interesting. That Mary Trump, Too Much and Never Enough. I got to get that one. And John Bolton's book, The Room Where It Happened. But just you know, some stuff that you really think is, that I really think is bizarre and totally unbelievable. And I want to use this kind of analogy. So there's a thief in your house. There's a thief in your house, and he's got one of these big bags, and he's putting your china and, you know, jewelry and all the stuff in there. So you see him, you see the thief, you know he's a thief because he's got the bandana on and he's got the bag and he's taking your stuff. So you know you don't know him, he's taking your stuff. You see him, but the first thing you say about him when you see him, it says, oh, well, he's leaving. He's on his way out. Now, he's regular, he's taking your stuff. But you're saying, oh, he's leaving. You know, he'll be gone in 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, whatever. And then the next thing you say is, well, he's not stealing. He's not stealing. You know, you're watching him steal. He's got his bag. He's got his, you know, his mask on. He's obviously taking your stuff. Probably got his gun. Good morning to me. But you say, well, he's not stealing. You know, he's not stealing. And then when he stole your stuff, your house is in shambles. The police come, and they with them the news media, because you're kind of famous. Then you say it's fake news. It's fake news. You know, you're just trying to make me look bad. There was a thief in my house. First I said he wasn't stealing. And then I said, you know, he's on his way out. And then when all of that proves to be false, You say the news about it was fake. So that's what we got going on about the coronavirus and a bunch of other stuff, but about the coronavirus in DC. So much so that now it appears that the administration wants to control the media coverage and control what's put out. So now they're going to eliminate the Center for Disease Control that people look to for information. The kind of information they get from the CDC helps doctors and hospitals and health professionals design policy and practices to keep us all safe and healthy. But they want to eliminate them and give it to the, Rose, good morning, give it to the Department of Health and Human Services, which is part of the administration, where the director is appointed by the administration. Now, what do you think is going to happen there? Well, we're not going to get the news. We're not going to get the news, and the kind of folks, the health professionals that protect us, the health professionals that talk to doctors and clinics and other health professionals, folks that are respected around the world in a world crisis, won't be as effective. We want to make everything political, and unfortunately, now we're making life and death health decisions based on politics and not based on science. We want to make, or not we, they want to make life and death health decisions based on what's going to win an election, what's going to increase popularity. But the net effect of it is we are numbing people. And there are a lot of folks that are going along with being numb. There are a lot of folks that don't mind being misinformed. There are a lot of folks that obviously don't mind being lied to. And then unfortunately, there are a lot of folks who don't mind their lives being put in danger for a political figure and for political purposes. This is about the craziest thing I've ever seen. And what bothers me more than anything else, and I've said this probably every week, what bothers me is that supposedly intelligent, well-meaning, Christian, patriotic people who have influence and who certainly know better aren't saying anything. They are not saying anything. I'm going to next week, I hope, and try to make sure I remember to do this. Break out a letter I wrote to Senator Shelby, our senior senator. Oh, and by the way, you know, Tuberville beat Sessions yesterday in that runoff, and we got to go out and vote. And I don't mind telling you, we need to try to do everything we can not to have Tommy Tuberville in the Senate and to keep Doug Jones. And that is an unpaid political endorsement, but I'll make it every day because we got to make sure that we get out and we do everything we can, because I want to pull a letter out because we have people like our Senator Shelby and others who have been serving, quote unquote, this nation for a long time in elected office, who have senior and influential positions, and who are allowing this kind of stuff to happen and not saying anything about it and not being concerned about it. We are going to send this country to hell in a handbasket because somebody is more concerned about staying in power as a Republican. And it could happen on the other side too. But right now it's the Republicans. Let's call it like it is. They want to stay in power. They're so intent on staying in power until they will let just about anything happen. And trust me, y'all, there is a lot of stuff happening that could be considered just about anything. That's where we are right now. We're at the just about anything is happening phase. And it's really sad. And so Yeah. So the president says that Confederate flags are okay. They're just freedom of speech, and it's all right if folks come to his rallies with them. But he also said that when the Nazis and white supremacists marched in Charlottesville, that there were good people on both sides. In other words, if you're a racist or bigot, a Nazi or a white supremacist, then you're still all right. No, that's still okay. It's your right, and I guess it is. But that's coming from the president. That he doesn't mind the Confederate flag because he says it depends on the situation. It depends on the circumstances. So in other words, if you want to fly it, and we can't stop anybody from flying it. But we better understand what that means, what it meant. That symbol was not the official flag of the Confederate States of America. It was a battle flag. It was the battle flag. The flag they flew, on the battlefield. And it was really embraced starting around in the 30s when all these statues were built, when blacks started to really assert our voices and start to ask for our rights. And that's what that was a symbol of. It was a symbol that says, if you black, get back. N-word, read and run. And if you can't read, run anyway. That's what the sign was up in Cullman, Alabama. Don't let the sun go down on your BA in this town. That was all part of that. That was all part of the backlash against the upward movement and mobility, and also the demand for rights from our people. That's what that is a symbol of. The Confederates lost the war that lasted less than 5 years. The Confederacy itself lasted less than 5 years. Prior to the Confederate States succeeding from the Union, the American flag was their flag. And immediately after the war, the American flag was their flag. So you want to take this 250-year history of America and say that this 5-year period or less than 5-year period represents your culture and your heritage. No, it doesn't. It just represents what your mindset is. It tells everybody who you are and what you think, and that's okay. But this is the president saying that it was fine. He says that the Confederate flag is about the same as Black Lives Matter. And he didn't like Black Lives Matter. I was so happy that they put Black Lives Matter on the sidewalk in front of Trump Tower. That was great. That was absolutely fantastic. So just stay woke, stay awake, go vote, encourage your friends, family, children to vote. Voting is going to be perhaps at a premium. So use every device that you can, absentee, mail in. And when I say your friends and family, I don't mean just from Alabama. I mean from all over the country. We need to have a political upheaval. And there are a lot of folks that are in office that we need to get out. What is happening in my mind is that there is that people are trying to grab the last part of the gusto that they can. We know that America is becoming browner and browner. And in terms of the folks who are able to elect officials, that's what's up. It's going to be browner people as time goes on. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, the majority of America will be brown. 30 years from now, definitely so. But there are folks trying to grab the gusto, meaning grab all the money, grab all the power. And so it won't matter how or who the majority is. In South Africa, apartheid did that. It said that the few ruled the many because the few controlled all the resources. And so we've just got to be careful and aware that we are headed in that direction where the few will control the many because the few control the resources. And if you're part of the many, or if you're part of some group that has long been disenfranchised and discriminated against, then your opportunities are going to be limited. So I don't want my opportunities limited. I don't want yours limited. I don't want my children or grandchildren's opportunities to be limited. I mentioned last week I have a new grandson. I don't want his opportunities limited. So we got to do stuff. So anyway, thank you all for submitting your information for the In the Black Business Directory. Shout out to everybody out there who has a Black Business Directory, the Birmingham Black Business Directory, the Alabama Black Business Directory. I think there's another one that I saw that Urban Impact is involved with. We need to know who our Black companies are. It's very important that we know who you are, know who they are, number one. But number two, it's also important that we promote the utilization of their products and their services. That is critically important. So start with knowing who they are, then move on to finding a way to buy their products and services, and finally to be an advocate for their use. If we're going to achieve real economic equality, especially in our Black community, I'm convinced that we have to focus on greater job creation, and we do that by creating more substantial and more successful Black businesses. Black entrepreneurship is where it's at. Businesses are essential if we're going to have a thriving economy in our communities in this 21st century. And there's a lot of will. There's a lot of, I can tell you for sure that there is no limit to the amount of want to the amount of energy, to the amount of effort that is being portrayed and displayed by our Black business owners. But what they need is more opportunity. And if we do that, we're going to create the rising tide that lifts all boats, not just the boats of Black folks, but the boats of all people. So we got to open doors for opportunity for our people. We got to build ladders for opportunity. It's not a matter of just opening a door and saying, oh, there it is, because many of these companies and individuals have been deprived and depressed and kind of marginalized for so long, until not only do we need to open the door, we have to build a ladder. So somebody has to, and then somebody has to help push others up the ladder. And we can't be jealous about who gets pushed up. We have to push up folks that are able to reach back and bring other folks with them. And if we do that, and that our business community starts to grow in Birmingham, then Birmingham starts to grow. In Alabama, then Alabama starts to grow. In America, then America starts to grow. So we got to get out of this thing where your zip code, where you were born, the opportunities that you were denied, the fact that you were, born not wealthy, the fact that you were born Black or brown or female or however, whatever. We just got to leave that behind, because we know, and statistics prove it, that if and when we develop more Black businesses, Black employment goes up, meaning Black unemployment goes down, that Black communities start to thrive in a better way, that other Black institutions start to come up, that real estate consumption increases, thereby increasing property values in communities, thereby increasing wealth, thereby closing the racial wealth gap. I've said it before, I'll continue to say it, that supporting entrepreneurship, growing a bigger and better and more successful Black business class, improving the revenue generation for Black companies from the less than 1% that we have in Birmingham, and that's not just Birmingham, it's a national number, increasing it, moving the needle, increasing it twofold, threefold, fivefold, will make a tremendous difference, not just for the business owners, but for our kids. So that message across, and that people are hearing it, and not just that Black folks are hearing it, but that all folks are hearing it. It is a key to our success, and it is in our enlightened mutual self-interest to be able to do that. The other thing that I want to say before I get out of here this morning is that, and it's on the same line, and I wrote an article, and I thought about it as I mentioned the website and talking now. But one of the things that we have to do is we have to elevate entrepreneurs to heroic status. And I'm talking to our people now, I'm talking to Black folks. Now, you know, we honor, my dad was a football, he was a coach. So he coached football, basketball, baseball. He's better known as a football coach. But coming up, I know that his hero was Jackie Robinson. You know, Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. Jackie Robinson and my dad were probably close to the same age. I'm sure he could see himself in Jackie Robinson because he was a ball player. My dad was a ball player, so he could see himself in Jackie Robinson. So Jackie was a hero. As I grew up, you know, I had sports heroes. Jim Brown, you know, when I was a little kid, was my sports hero. You know, we've always had sports and entertainment icons and heroes. What we haven't done enough is we haven't elevated entrepreneurs to heroic status. It is not just the AG, although I honor AG guests in every year of the conference. I hope you all come. I hope we're able to do it next year. We're planning to do it. But we've got to elevate the everyday, the businessman or woman that's on our block, that's on our street, that we touch, that we see at church. We've got to let them know that we appreciate what they're doing. We've got to let them know that we support what they're doing. And we've got to lift them up, raise them up, you know, promote them. Because when people see that, then that creates more entrepreneurial zeal among other folks who were sitting on the sidelines. So if we can do one thing, find entrepreneurs and elevate them, not just with your business, even though that is critically important. I think we all ought to find ways to spend money with our folks each and every chance we get. But promote them, you know, with your words. Promote them with your encouragement. Promote them by pushing them forward and helping to push them up those ladders for success. Hey, I've enjoyed talking to you today. This is Bob Dickerson, Within the Black, and we'll see you again next week.